The anomaly appeared first on the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Avicama. Dr. Eliza Ward squinted at her display, certain she was witnessing equipment malfunction rather than actual data. Objects moving at those velocities should be impossible. Run the diagnostic again, she ordered, reaching for her third coffee of the night shift. Her assistant shook his head. Already did. Twice. Whatever those signals are, they're real. Within 3 hours, every major observatory on Earth confirmed the readings. 12 objects of massive size, decelerating as they approached the outer solar system. Their trajectory, directly toward Earth. Admiral Helena Chen was halfway through her morning jog when her secure phone buzzed with the presidential code. Within 90 minutes, she stood in the Pentagon's crisis room, still in her running shoes, watching as the Joint Chiefs debated humanity's response to the approaching vessels. "They're slowing down," General Rivera pointed out. "That suggests intention, not natural phenomena. And they're maintaining perfect formation," Admiral Chen added, studying the satellite feed. "We're looking at artificial craft, not asteroids." The president's face remained impassive on the video screen. "Options. We have the Defiance," Chen replied, naming Earth's most advanced deep space vessel, "and 3 support ships that could reach deployment position within 48 hours. The room fell silent. 4 ships against 12 unknown vessels of clearly superior technology. "Deploy them," the president finally ordered. "First contact should be military, but not aggressive. Show them we have teeth, but don't bare them unless necessary." The bridge of the Defiance hummed with tense energy as Admiral Chen supervised final preparations. The experimental vessel represented humanity's best technology. A fusion drive pushing the boundaries of physics, railguns capable of accelerating projectiles to unprecedented velocities, and stealth systems that made the ship almost invisible to conventional scanning. Yet Chen harbored no illusions. If these aliens could cross interstellar space, human technology would seem primitive by comparison. "They've altered course," Lieutenant Commander Jackson reported. "They'll reach lunar orbit in 6 hours. Chen nodded. "Maintain position. Let them come to us." The first transmission arrived precisely when the alien fleet reached Mars orbit. Every screen on the Defiance flickered, then displayed the image of a being unlike anything humans had imagined. Gray-blue skin stretched over an angular face with 4 eyes positioned in a diamond pattern. When it spoke, the shipboard AI translated in near real time. "Greetings, natives of Sol 3. We are the Corax Dominion, guardians of civilized space. Your primitive transmissions have reached our monitoring stations. We come to offer protection." Chen stepped forward. "This is Admiral Helena Chen of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact, but Earth requires no protection. We are a sovereign world." The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "Sovereignty is earned through power, Admiral. Your species shows promise, but remains vulnerable. The galaxy contains many dangers. Under our protection, you will thrive as a client state." "And if we decline your generous offer?" Chen asked. All 4 alien eyes blinked simultaneously. "That would be unfortunate. We will allow 1 solar cycle for your leadership to recognize the wisdom of our proposal." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the bridge in silence. "Orders, Admiral?" Commander Jackson asked. Chen's expression hardened as she stared at the alien fleet through the viewscreen. "Send everything we have on their ships to Earth, and prepare combat simulations. I want to know our odds if this turns ugly. And if they're listening to us." Chen smiled thinly. "Then they'll know humans don't surrender easily." 3 days after first contact, Supreme Commander Val Kassar of the Corax Dominion strode through the United Nations Assembly Hall with an entourage of towering guards. Delegates from Earth's nations watched in uneasy silence as the alien's 4 eyes surveyed the chamber with barely concealed disdain. "Your architecture is quaint," he said, voice translated through a device on his collar. "Such reliance on right angles suggests limited spatial reasoning." Admiral Chen, seated beside the Secretary General, maintained a neutral expression. Every word, every gesture from the aliens was being analyzed by Earth's best minds. And something didn't add up. "You've achieved atomic energy," Valkasar continued, gesturing at a holographic display of Earth's infrastructure. "Yet your warships still rely on chemical propulsion. Most species develop gravitic manipulation before reaching your population levels." Chen caught the subtle message beneath the condescension. The Corax were genuinely puzzled by human development patterns. "Different evolutionary paths lead to different technological priorities," she replied carefully. "Humanity excels at adaptation rather than specific technologies." Valkasar made a dismissive gesture. "A charitable interpretation. We've seen your defensive capabilities. Primitive kinetic weapons and nuclear devices will not protect you from the greater threats that lurk between stars." After the delegation departed, Chen met with Earth's hastily assembled Alien Technology Assessment Team in a secured bunker beneath Geneva. Dr. Ao Okafor, Earth's leading weapons designer, displayed microscopic images of Corax metal fragments accidentally collected during the diplomatic exchange. "They're not as advanced as they want us to believe," Okafor explained, excitement barely contained. "Yes, their propulsion and energy generation are centuries beyond us, but their material science, maybe 50 years ahead, at most." "Explain," Chen demanded. Okafor highlighted a section of alien hull material. "Their ships use layered composites with incredible energy dispersal properties, perfect for deflecting directed energy weapons like lasers or plasma. But against kinetic impacts," she smiled, "they're vulnerable, especially at these specific structural junctions." General Rivera leaned forward. "You're saying we can hurt them?" "I'm saying they've optimized for warfare against enemies who fight like they do," Okafor clarified. "They expect us to pursue energy weapons because that's the conventional development path for spacefaring species. But our primitive rail guns and tungsten penetrators, they haven't faced those in centuries, if ever." Chen absorbed this information, a strategy already forming. "So we don't try to match their technology. We exploit its blind spots," Okafor finished. Later that night, Chen initiated a classified video conference with military leaders from China, Russia, India, and the European Union. For the first time since the Cold War, former adversaries united with common purpose. "They expect submission," Chen told her counterparts. "They expect us to either surrender or attempt to copy their technology and fail. Instead, we'll show them humanity's greatest strength, our ability to innovate in unexpected ways." On screens around the world, heads of military forces listened intently as Chen outlined Operation Hornet's Nest. "We have 1 year," she concluded. 1 year to prepare a defense that the Corax won't see coming. Not because it's beyond their technology, but because it's beneath it. The Russian general nodded appreciatively. "Sometimes, the old ways are best." "Precisely," Chen replied. "They think they know what we'll do. Let's show them how dangerous humans can be when underestimated." 6 months after first contact, the lunar surface buzzed with unprecedented activity. Mining operations that had once been scientific outposts transformed into massive industrial complexes. Under the cover of civilian infrastructure development, Earth extracted thousands of tons of metals critical for Operation Hornet's Nest. Commander Mai Seto monitored construction progress from a concealed observation post. Her official title was Diplomatic Liaison, but her actual role involved gathering intelligence on the Corax observers who regularly surveyed lunar operations. "They're watching us again," her assistant noted, indicating a distant glimmer in lunar orbit. Seto nodded. "Good. Let them see exactly what we want them to see." What the aliens observed was Earth constructing rudimentary defense platforms, exactly what they expected from a primitive species preparing for conflict. What remained hidden were the thousands of miniaturized drones being manufactured in underwater facilities across Earth's oceans, each loaded with tungsten penetrators designed to exploit the structural vulnerabilities Dr. Okafor had identified. In Washington, D.C., Admiral Chen reviewed the latest production figures with grim satisfaction. "We're at 60% capacity. Will we make the deadline?" "Barely," General Rivera replied. "But there's another issue. The Corax aren't the only aliens watching us." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Explain." Rivera displayed footage from a deep space monitoring satellite. "This vessel appeared at the edge of our system 3 days ago. It's been maintaining position, observing both Earth and the Corax patrol ships. Its design doesn't match Corax architecture." "First contact was never going to remain exclusive," Chen mused. "Arrange a discreet intercept. Let's find out who else has taken an interest in humanity." 2 weeks later, Commander Sato sat alone in a secure compartment aboard the Defiance, facing a being unlike the Corax. Where the Dominion aliens were angular and rigid, this creature displayed fluid grace. Its translucent skin pulsed with subtle bioluminescence. "I am Vela, of the Viridian Collective," it introduced itself, voice melodious through the translator. "Once, we ruled 30 systems. Now we exist as protected clients of the Corax Dominion." "You're here without their knowledge," Sato observed. Vela's skin flashed patterns of blue-green light. "Many subjugated species watch your world with interest. For centuries, the Corax have expanded unchallenged. Your defiance intrigues us. We're protecting our sovereignty," Sato replied carefully. "As did we before their armadas came. As did the Nubar and the Tellarites." Vela leaned forward. "But your approach is different. You do not attempt to match their technology. You seek to circumvent it." Sato maintained a neutral expression, neither confirming nor denying. "The Dominion's strength is technological superiority," Vela continued. "Their weakness is imagination. They haven't faced a truly innovative enemy in generations." After the meeting, Sato delivered her report directly to Admiral Chen. "The Viridians offer technical assistance and intelligence on Corax fleet movements," she concluded, "in exchange for our tactical innovations." Chen considered the implications. "They want to learn how to fight back." "Yes, and they're not alone. Apparently, Earth's resistance has become something of a symbol among subjugated worlds." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Then let's make sure we don't disappoint them. Accelerate drone production, and set up secure channels with our new Viridian friends." As the deadline approached, humanity prepared in silence, not just for survival, but for a victory that might reshape galactic politics forever. 1 year to the day after first contact, the Corax returned. Their fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. Not 12 ships as before, but 50. Global news networks broadcast live footage as the alien armada approached Earth, their massive vessels creating shadow patterns across the moon's surface. In cities worldwide, civilians gathered in streets and plazas, eyes turned skyward. Some prayed, others stood in defiant silence. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the Defiance, now positioned at the head of Earth's visible defense fleet. 8 warships arrayed in standard formation near the L1 Lagrange point. "All systems operational," Commander Jackson reported. "Stealth platforms show green across the board." Chen nodded. "And our Viridian friends?" "In position and standing by," Commander Sato confirmed from her tactical station. "They've confirmed the Corax fleet composition matches intelligence estimates." The main view screen activated as Supreme Commander Valkasar initiated communication. His 4 eyes surveyed the human bridge with evident disdain. "Your defense force is smaller than anticipated," he observed. "Perhaps wisdom has prevailed among some of your leaders." Chen maintained a neutral expression. "We appreciate your return, Commander. Earth has considered your offer of protection." Valkasar's upper eyes narrowed. "And your decision?" "Earth respectfully declines to become a client state of the Corax Dominion." A moment of silence followed. "Unfortunate. Your species showed promise." Valkasar turned to speak to someone off-screen. "Commence primary weapon charging sequence. Target their largest population centers first." Chen waited until the transmission ended before opening a fleet-wide channel. All vessels, maintain position. Weapon systems remain offline. She paused, then added, initiate Operation Hornet's Nest. Throughout Earth orbit, thousands of seemingly innocent pieces of space debris, fragments that had been meticulously positioned over the past year, suddenly activated. Stealth fields dropped as miniaturized propulsion systems engage, revealing swarms of small, agile drones. The Corax sensors barely registered the threat before the first wave struck. Drones accelerated to tremendous speeds, their tungsten penetrators striking with precision at the structural weak points identified by Dr. Okafor. On the main view screen, Chen watched as the magnificent Corax formation dissolved into chaos. Ships designed to withstand energy weapons found their shields useless against the primitive but perfectly targeted kinetic impacts. Second wave deploying, Sato announced. Viridian intelligence vessels are jamming Corax communications as planned. Within minutes, 14 Corax ships had been disabled, their hulls breached at critical junctures. 7 more spun out of control, maneuvering systems damaged beyond repair. Valkasar's transmission came through on an emergency channel, his composure shattered. This is unprecedented. You attack with debris and projectiles, like animals throwing rocks. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective, Commander. You prepared for the weapons you expected us to build. We chose a different path. This changes nothing. Valkasar snarled. The Dominion spans thousands of worlds. This is merely the Vanguard fleet. Perhaps, Chen acknowledged. But now the Dominion knows. Earth is not defenseless. And we are not alone. As if on cue, 5 Viridian vessels decloaked behind the remaining Corax ships, weapons charge. Retreat, Chen suggested calmly. And take this message to your leaders. Earth is not interested in conquest or control, but we will defend our sovereignty and help others reclaim theirs. News of Earth's victory spread through the galaxy like a supernova. The Corax Dominion Council convened an emergency session in their capital megastructure orbiting a blue giant star. Supreme Commander Valkasar, his reputation severely damaged, stood before the 9-member council with visible restraint. The humans employed tactics we haven't faced in centuries, he explained, projecting battle footage. Primitive weapons, yes, but applied with unexpected precision. The Grand Arbiter, oldest among the council, leaned forward. You were defeated by projectiles, by creatures who have barely left their atmosphere. Not just defeated, Valkasar corrected. Outmaneuvered. They anticipated our defensive configurations and exploited vulnerabilities we didn't know existed. And the Viridians, another counselor demanded. They were supposed to be pacified generations ago. Valkasar's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of distress. It appears our client species have been less content than our assessments indicated. After heated deliberation, the council reached consensus. Humans represented a dangerous evolutionary branch that threatened galactic stability. The Dominion would mobilize its full military might, thousands of warships from across their empire, to eliminate the Earth problem before rebellion spread further. Meanwhile, aboard the diplomatic vessel Horizon, Admiral Chen met with representatives from 7 formerly subjugated species. The conference room hummed with nervous energy as beings of wildly different biologies gathered around a circular table. Vila, the Viridian emissary, initiated proceedings. For 3 centuries, my people have endured Corax protection. We've watched them absorb 63 civilizations into their empire. None have achieved what Earth accomplished in your first engagement. The Dominion builds its power on technological superiority, added Krell, a silicon-based life form representing the Nubarian collective. When faced with unexpected tactics, their response is remarkably inflexible. Chen studied the assembled aliens carefully. Let's be clear about our position. Earth doesn't seek to replace the Dominion with an empire of our own. We fight for sovereignty, ours and yours. Noble sentiments, rumbled Gax, though, a massive amphibian from the Tellarite systems. But the Corax will return with overwhelming force. They cannot allow this precedent to stand. Then we need to be ready, Chen replied. Not just Earth, but all worlds willing to stand against them. The meeting continued for hours as species who had been enemies under Corax rule found common cause. Technical data was exchanged, military capabilities assessed, cultural barriers navigated with careful diplomacy. Commander Sato, observing from the corner, marveled at the historic nature of the gathering. Humanity, barely a century into the space age, was becoming the unlikely linchpin of a galactic resistance. When Chen returned to Earth, she faced the United Nations Security Council with the gravity of her news. The good news is we've gained powerful allies, she explained. The concerning news is we've become the focal point of the largest interstellar conflict in a millennium. How much time do we have? Asked the Secretary General. 6 months, according to Viridian intelligence, Chen replied. The Corax are mobilizing their central fleet. When they return, it won't be with 50 ships, but 500. Silence fell across the chamber as the implications sank in. Then we have work to do, the Secretary General finally stated. Humanity didn't come this far to surrender now. Chen nodded, thinking of the unlikely alliance forming among the stars. No, we didn't, and neither did our new friends. 5 months after Earth's first victory, humanity's preparations reached fever pitch. Shipyards that had once built ocean vessels now constructed space-capable weapons platforms. Universities converted research labs to develop hybrid technologies combining human innovation with alien science. But the most unusual facility sat beneath the Pacific Ocean, a repurposed submarine base where former criminal hacker Zhou Rais led a team of programmers unlike any assembled before. The Corax communication systems operate on quantum entanglement principles, she explained to Admiral Chen during an inspection. Traditionally unhackable, but their network architecture. She grinned, displaying code on a holographic screen. Pure bureaucratic bloat. Hundreds of redundant systems built over centuries without proper integration. You found an exploit? Chen asked. Better. We've developed algorithms that evolve faster than their systems can adapt. Zhou's fingers danced across the interface. They're coming with energy shields recalibrated against kinetic weapons, so we're giving them something new to worry about. When the Corax returned, they arrived with exactly the overwhelming force Viridian intelligence had predicted. 500 warships in perfect formation, emerging from faster-than-light travel just beyond Mars' orbit. This time, Supreme Commander Val Kissar didn't bother with communication. The massive fleet moved directly toward Earth's defensive line, weapons charging. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the upgraded Defiance, now enhanced with reverse-engineered Corax technology. Around her vessel, 30 Earth warships held position alongside 25 alien craft from the newly formed coalition. They've adapted to our previous tactics, she noted calmly. Exactly as expected. Drone swarms would be ineffective against their new shielding, Commander Seto confirmed from Tactical. They're transmitting targeting data across their fleet. Chen nodded. Initiate Protocol Trojan. Throughout Earth orbit, specialized satellites activated, transmitting signals designed by Zhou's team. The electronic attack didn't attempt to breach Corax shields. Instead, it targeted their communication networks. For several tense minutes, nothing seemed to happen. The Corax fleet continued its advance, weapon systems glowing with charged energy. Then, chaos erupted. Ship after ship in the Corax formation suddenly fired, not at Earth's defenses, but at neighboring Corax vessels. Navigation systems failed, sending warships veering into each other. Shields flickered and died as conflicting commands overwhelmed their control systems. Electronic warfare package successful, Seto reported, unable to keep satisfaction from her voice. Their command structure is compromised. All vessels, advance, Chen ordered. Target ships still under central control. The Viridians will handle their left flank. The battle that followed became legend. Human warships, though fewer in number and technologically inferior, pressed their advantage with ruthless efficiency. Coalition vessels executed coordinated strikes that the fractured Corax fleet couldn't counter. The Defiance cut through the confusion, driving straight toward Valkasar's flagship. The two vessels engaged in a brutal exchange that left both critically damaged. On her burning bridge, Admiral Chen gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered from another impact. "Their shields are down," a tactical officer called through the smoke. "One more volley will finish them." Chen stared at the view screen, where Valkasar's flagship listed helplessly. "Open a channel." The Corax commander appeared, his habitat compartment in ruins around him. "You fight without honor," he snarled, "using deception instead of strength." "No," Chen replied calmly. "We fight to win. There's a difference." She terminated the transmission and gave the order that would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. Fire. News of Valkasar's defeat spread across the Dominion faster than official censors could contain it. Footage captured by coalition vessels leaked through merchant channels, showing the mighty Corax armada in disarray, outmaneuvered by a species that had achieved spaceflight mere decades ago. On 37 subjugated worlds, populations that had lived under Corax rule for generations watched in stunned silence as the unthinkable unfolded before them. The damaged Defiance limped back to Earth orbit, its hull scorched and breached in multiple sections. Admiral Chen, arm in a makeshift sling, supervised emergency repairs from a temporary command center. Casualty reports coming in, Commander Seto informed her, voice heavy. 28% of Earth's fleet lost. 17 coalition vessels destroyed. Chen nodded solemnly. And the Corax. Over 60% of their armada disabled or destroyed. The remainder retreated to their nearest stronghold in the Proxima system. A victory, Chen observed, but at significant cost. Dr. Okafor entered the command center, exhaustion evident in her movements. "Admiral, we've intercepted transmissions from the Corax homeworld. Their ruling council has declared a state of emergency. They're activating something called the Guardian Protocol." Chen glanced at Vela, who had joined Earth's command staff as liaison to the coalition forces. The Viridian's skin pulsed with patterns of deep crimson, an expression of extreme alarm. The Guardian Protocol is not merely a military response. It involves a weapon the Dominion has used only twice in their history, a stellar manipulator capable of triggering a supernova. Silence fell across the command center. "Target?" Chen asked quietly. "Your son," Vela replied. "They would rather eliminate Earth entirely than allow the rebellion to spread." Within hours, an emergency council convened aboard the coalition command vessel. Representatives from 12 species gathered to assess the threat. "The device requires 3 months to position and activate," Krell of the Nubarians explained. "It must be placed precisely to affect a star's fusion dynamics." "Can it be intercepted during transit?" Chen asked. "Heavily guarded," Gax though rumbled. "The Corax will commit their remaining forces to protecting it." "Then we don't intercept," Chen stated firmly. "We strike at the source." The bold plan that emerged would have been unthinkable months earlier. A joint human-alien fleet would make an unprecedented push into core Corax territory, targeting the stellar manipulator before it could deploy. As preparations accelerated, something remarkable happened across the galaxy. On world after world, populations that had been subjugated for centuries rose up against their Corax overseers. Commander Sato, monitoring intelligence feeds, marveled at the scope of the rebellion. "It's spreading faster than anyone anticipated. 12 major systems have already overthrown their Dominion administrators." "They needed hope," Chen observed. "We showed them it was possible." 3 weeks later, Chen stood on the bridge of the repaired Defiance, addressing the captains of 60 coalition vessels prepared for the most daring assault in galactic history. "This mission determines not just Earth's fate, but freedom for countless worlds," she told them. The Corax believed technological superiority guaranteed their dominance. "We've proven innovation and determination can overcome any advantage." She studied the faces and forms of beings who, months earlier, had been unknown to humanity. "They expect us to defend our home," she concluded. "Instead, we'll take the fight directly to theirs. Show them that threatening Earth was the greatest mistake in their long history." The assault on the Korax homeworld system became the stuff of legend. A desperate mission with no margin for error. The Coalition fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly into the heart of Dominion space, catching the defenders off guard. Admiral Chen studied the massive orbital construct visible through the Defiance's viewscreen. The stellar manipulator hung in space like a metal spider, its appendages already orienting toward distant stars. "Primary target confirmed," Commander Seto reported. "Defense fleet inbound. 86 vessels. Heavy configuration. All ships, execute battle plan Avalanche," Chen ordered. "Viridian and Nubarian vessels, initiate flanking maneuver. Human ships, form the spearhead." The battle erupted with unprecedented ferocity. Korax defenders fought with the desperation of a species facing extinction of their way of life. Coalition forces pressed forward with the determination of those who had glimpsed freedom after centuries of subjugation. The Defiance plunged through the chaos, engines straining beyond safe parameters as it drove toward the stellar manipulator. 3 escort vessels sacrificed themselves to clear a path, deliberately colliding with Korax battleships that blocked their approach. On the bridge, emergency alerts blared as systems failed under sustained enemy fire. "Hull breach, decks 7 through 12. An officer called out. "Weapons at 30% capacity. Keep going," Chen ordered, gripping her command chair as the ship shuddered around her. "Everything we have into forward shields and engines." The Defiance broke through the defensive line, battered but still fighting, closing on the massive weapon platform. Calculations appeared on Chen's tactical display. The firing solution that would disable the manipulator's central power core. "All remaining weapons, target these coordinates," she commanded. "Fire when ready." The ship shuddered as it unleashed its final volley. Energy beams and kinetic projectiles converged on the manipulator's vulnerable nexus point, the weakness identified by Dr. Okafor's team after weeks of analyzing stolen schematics. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the massive structure began to fracture, energy cascading through its framework. "Ma'am, the chain reaction is destabilizing faster than predicted," Seto warned. "Explosive radius will exceed our engine capacity to escape." Chen assessed their options in an instant. "Evacuate the crew. All hands to escape pods." "Admiral, you should." "That's an order, Commander. I'll pilot us out manually once the pods are away." As the crew raced to evacuation stations, Chen plotted a final course. The Defiance would need to maintain position long enough to ensure the manipulator's destruction, then attempt a near-impossible escape. The seconds ticked by as escape pods jettisoned from the dying ship. Just as Chen prepared for her final maneuver, the bridge doors opened. Vela, the Viridian, entered with 2 technicians. "Admiral, we've adapted our quantum transportation technology," the alien explained quickly. "But we need to leave now." "The ship has served its purpose," Vela interrupted. "Some legends must end for new ones to begin." As the Defiance maintained its position against the disintegrating manipulator, Chen finally nodded. The Viridian device activated, extracting the Admiral from her command chair seconds before the ship's bridge erupted in flames. 1 year after humanity's first contact with alien life, representatives from 37 formerly subjugated species gathered in Geneva to sign the founding charter of the Galactic Conquests. Admiral Helena Chen, now appointed Earth's first galactic ambassador, watched as former enemies became allies. That evening, she stood at the newly dedicated memorial for those lost in what historians already called the Liberation War. Vela joined her in respectful silence. "You know what made humans different?" the Viridian finally asked. "Not your technology or even your tactics. When the Korax came, you didn't just fight for your world. You showed us how to fight for ours." As stars appeared above them, Chen smiled at the thought of humanity's new place in a galaxy that suddenly seemed filled with possibilities rather than threats. "That's what humans do," she replied simply. "We adapt, we innovate, and we never stop fighting for freedom, ours or anyone else's."